I didn't know how to do this, so I prepared myself by watching the dream face reveal, which really didn't help much, but at least I learned what not to do, because it was super cringe. So instead of doing stupid things like, oh my god, it is so awkward because I'm talking in front of the camera for the first time, I'm just gonna do it straightforward. This is how I look like. I'm sorry for everyone who expected me to be a truthful chud, but I'm just a normal guy. I'm Peter, I just turned 18 years old and I've been doing political content for 8 months now. And because I really don't have anything to talk about, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I started this YouTube channel. So let's just get right into it. Ever since I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a YouTuber. But back then it was just for childish motivations. I just wanted to play video games and be rich. So I did some gaming videos in 2019 when I was 11 and deleted it after 6 months. A few months later I did an Instagram page for my dog, which I then again stopped after a few months. Then when I came to 7th grade, a friend of mine did also YouTube videos, some gaming, I think he did Rocket League. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start again. So I did some mobile gaming videos, mostly Brawl Stars but also Geometry Dash. But I stopped after a month again. A few months later I got more into Minecraft, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try doing Minecraft videos again, which I did on another channel, but I stopped after a few weeks again. And this was my last real YouTube channel. I stopped doing YouTube overall, but that wasn't the end of social media for me. But I still had these ambitions somewhere. So in 2022 I had some Instagram pages. First I just reposted some gym videos. And then later I joined The Real World by Andrew Tate and I did some Andrew Tate clips, but I stopped this too. I don't really know why. I still wanted to do YouTube videos though, but I just never got to it. I had 2 channel concepts, but I never really did them, although I was thinking about the name and even wrote a script. I just never got into it. So for the last 3 years I wasn't really doing anything with social media, besides occasionally editing a video for school, a friend or family. That changed last year when I got more and more into politics, started watching America First and wanted to get more into Slovak politics. But about Slovak politics I didn't really know what to talk about since I didn't know what kind of parties we had. But that changed when, I think it was in October, when I saw a video of Milan Mazurek. And then I did some more research on his party and I thought, wow, this is awesome. We have a right-wing, Israel-critical political party in Slovakia. This is awesome. So as I was learning more and more about Slovak politics, I realized that we didn't really have any right-wing political influencers in Slovakia. Besides Vicky Sulik and Livia Pavlíková. But the thing is, Vicky Sulik doesn't just do political videos, he also does other videos. And at that time Livia Pavlíková wasn't uploading very actively. So I thought this would be a perfect time for me to start my own channel. There was one issue though. My Slovak wasn't really good since I've been living my whole life in Switzerland. So I didn't want to embarrass myself too much, which is why I also did English videos. I'm just way more comfortable with that language, which is why I'm also doing this video in English. So yeah, that's the history of how I started doing this YouTube channel. And by the way, I just didn't create it and instantly do a video. I created this channel in November and everything was done in November, but it took me 2 months to upload my first video. I'm glad I still did it though and didn't give up. If you remember a month ago, I gave you the opportunity to ask me some questions on Instagram. So for the end, I'm going to finish this video off by answering all the questions that I got in English. I just wrote them down and I'm going to read them. So the first question was, what are my thoughts on Marine Le Pen? So from what I've heard, she's just another establishment, conservative, populist, like Reform Britain and the AfD in Germany. And of course I think it would be great if they got into power instead of Macron or whatever party is ruling France right now. But I wouldn't seriously consider supporting her and her party, Rassemblement National, since they aren't really anti-immigration. They don't even support the Save Europe Act. What are my thoughts on fascist corporatism? I think the whole topic is generally misunderstood because nowadays the left thinks that fascism is just when Trump and ICE or something, and the right thinks it's just Nazi. But that is not the case. fascism is an economic ideology centered around national identity and corporatism. And I think that fascist corporatism could solve some of the issues regarding the job market and also immigration, since it would prioritize the native workers first and encourage class cooperation instead of a class war. What are my thoughts on Phalangism? To be fair, I don't really know enough about it, but it seems like a functional ideology. I don't think it could work nowadays since it is also anti-democratic, but it is legit, and I like how it connects Catholicism with government. I think it emphasizes the state too much though, but I think I'm going to do a video on it in the future since it is an interesting topic and I would like to know more about it. If humanity achieved world order, how would you want it to be? That is an interesting question. I think it deserves a longer video, but I'm just going to try to keep it short. Overall, I would say that I would leave the world divided into nations as it is now and not do a one world order like some people want to. I think we should let each country and each people do what they want and not interfere with them. And then additionally to that, I would discourage globalism and emphasize self-sufficiency more. But of course, I still think we need some universal laws regarding human rights and environmentalism. And there would be some competent third-party authority to enforce all of this. Would you prefer a state-run or market-run economy? Both. I think I would let markets do the most things. But there are certain things that I would leave up to the state. One example is housing, since private companies and banks are just exploiting this too much for profit and thus making housing inaccessible and expensive for everyone. Would you keep the third world poor or do you support developing those countries? Now this question assumes that we have some power or influence over third world countries, and I'm against foreign interference of all sorts. So that means I would just leave them alone to do what they want, and whether they develop is a choice of theirs and not mine. Now, I wouldn't restrict the development through sanctions or anything. If a country like Senegal wants to trade with us, then sure, why not? But in my perfect world there would be tariffs, so local products are prioritized. Would you keep the idea of nation states or just the heritage of common people? I would definitely keep nation states because without them unique cultures are bound to disappear. Look at the United States. In the 19th century most people were loyal to their state rather than the whole country. But after the Civil War this loyalty for the states started to fade more and more away. And now the United States is just one country without much local diversity. One example is the disappearance of Southern accents and Southern cultures overall. I don't think this would have happened in an alternative universe where the states broke away and became independent. So this is why we in Europe need nation states to preserve our cultures. Are you Slovak? I'm half Czech and half Slovak. Come to Brazil. I'm good, thanks. If I ever go there, it would be like to the south where there's a lot of Germans and Polish people. But I don't think I would ever visit Brazil. Voluntarily. Thoughts on distributism? I don't know too much about it, but I googled it and it seems valid. I'm generally more open to economic systems outside of the boundaries of capitalism and socialism. What I especially like about distributism is that it advocates for private ownership of small families and just everyone, and not like the state or huge corporations. And this is great because it encourages local self-sufficiency and local wealth. But I need to know more about it to tell you my full opinion, and I think it is a great video idea too. And those are all of the questions in English. Thank you very much for asking them and giving me content. I think I will do this more often to just practice speaking in front of the camera because as you saw, it was quite boring. I got interrupted and I don't know, sometimes I look at myself, sometimes I look more to the right, sometimes I look at the camera, so I just need to practice it way more. But for now I'll stick to the Minecraft videos in the background. I'm going to progressively do more and more videos in front of the camera, but this will take a while until every video I do is like this in front of the camera. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm Slovak Royper and I'll see you next week.